Shalom, shalom, everyone. I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. This is Elvin Israel, one of the instructors of RPK on this July 12th, 2021. If I go in and out, Brother Mike, I'm in the mountains, so I'm going to need you to pick up for me until I come back. But hopefully everything is okay.
No problem.
Yes, sir. So what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be talking about the true meaning behind Genesis 1. Now, this is one of many narratives that you can take from it, but from the way that I study and etc., I think this is pretty much aligned more to what Moses was trying to get accomplished with Genesis 1. And I know that if we read it and take it for face value, it's pretty much like the creation of the cosmos. But I'm here to say that I don't think, per se, that's what Moses was trying to get us to understand from this passage or this point of the story in Genesis 1. So hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate that today. Now, the best way I believe to understand the Old Testament is through looking of the lens of the New Testament. Looking from the New Testament perspective, and then it'll help us understand what the Old Testament was trying to relate to us dealing with information. So, Brother Mike, if you don't mind, I want to start off in Genesis 1, and we're going to be going back and forth between John 1, and then we're going to go back and forth from John to Genesis, and then we're going to introduce Exodus.
Okay. So I'm going to start off in John 1.
Yeah. Read John 1 through 3, and then read Genesis 1 and 1.
Okay. John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. Now Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Okay, so now we have a clear, precise detail on what John was trying to explain. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God, showing two heavenly beings inside of the heavenly realm in the beginning. That's what John was explaining. And then he goes on to say that all things was made through the Word, and some translations have by the Word, to show you that Christ, the Word being Christ, was the one that was doing the creating in the beginning. So now we have all things made through Christ. And we got, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. So both of these are talking about a creation. So can you read Genesis 1, 2, and 3?
The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light.
All right, so now, can you go to John 1 and read the next 3 verses in John 1?
In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John.
Okay, so we're going to stop right there. So now, do we see the similar language? In him was the life and the light, but the darkness comprehended it not. In Genesis, there was darkness, and then the light came. So, can we see both stories? You have a creation. Both stories you have darkness, both stories you have light. So we see that right there, right?
Yeah, and I made that comparison in the past when I've read this scripture, and I just wasn't able to put the two and two together. So I'm really interested in where you're going with this.
So Genesis is giving us a narrative more about Christ than the creation of the cosmos. But now we finna show a little bit more. Could you read the next two verses in Genesis, and then I want you to start at the Exodus motif.
Okay. And God saw the light, and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day.
All right, so now you can go to the Exodus narrative.
Which chapter exactly?
I think it was 40.
40.
Give me 1 second. 1 second. Yes, it's 40.
Yep, I see it. You want me to start from one?
No, I put the verse in the chat. What verse was it? It's in the WhatsApp chat.
Let me check it. 40 verse 18. All right. 40 and 18. So Moses raised up the tabernacle, fastened its sockets, set up its boards, put in its bars, and raised up its pillars. And he spread out. Okay.
All right, you can start right there.
Okay.
So now, when we think about a tabernacle, we want to think about more like a tent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like a tent. So when you start putting boards in a tent, and you start putting the metal in there and the pillars to create a foundation, what will be the point of that?
To hold it up, to make it stronger, right?
So now, if that's the case, can we agree in the beginning the tabernacle was formless?
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we got a formless tabernacle. We got a formless cosmos, and we got the darkness not comprehending the light. So we see that it's the same motif. And notice Moses started this. It's like the first of the 10th month. So Moses started this in the beginning also. So now we're going to show how all of this go together. So now can you go back to Genesis and read down to the end of day 2. And then we're going to go back to Exodus.
Okay. Then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Thus God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day.
Okay, so now read what happened in Exodus, and I'll tell you when to stop. I can't read it right now, so I know exactly when to stop.
I got you.
We can agree that a firmament was laid out in this formless void, right? And now a firmament was laid, and the firmament was created for division, and he called the firmament heaven, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, right, so now let's see what's going on in Exodus.
And he spread out the tent over the tabernacle and put the covering of the tent on top of it, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He took the testimony and put it into the ark, inserted the poles through the rings of the ark, and put the mercy seat on top of the ark. And he brought the ark.
All right, so,
okay.
All right, so you can stop right there. So now, Moses, all right, so we know that the ark is on the inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he took and he covered it. Could you read it one more time?
He took the testimony and put it into the ark, inserted the poles through the rings of the ark, and put them.
Go up to the verse
Okay.
when you first started it.
And he spread out the tent over the tabernacle and put the covering of the tent on top of it, as the Lord had commanded.
Stop right there. Stop right there. So he spread out the covering, and he put the covering on top of pretty much the tent, the poles. Mm. So, what does that sound like? First of all, it was formless, it was void. Then he gave it form by the sticks and the poles, and then he spread the covering above.
And that's the firmament, yeah.
That's the firmament, right? Yeah. And notice it's going in the same exact order. So now, what does the tent or what does the covering do? What's the point of the covering?
To cause division, right? To divide.
Yes, sir. What is it dividing?
The heavens and the earth.
Yeah, there you go.
Bingo. So now notice in Genesis, the firmament was called heaven. And the firmament is equal to the covering of the tent. So where did Moses put heaven at?
In the upper part of the temple.
Well, in the tabernacle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got heaven on earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got to think about it. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. And then he told us the firmament was heaven. Now we know the covering that did exactly what the firmament did has to be a representation of heaven. So in the scriptures, no matter what we see, I create new heavens and a new earth. We got to think about what they thought about old heaven and old earth, which dealt with parts of the tabernacle. Well, we're gonna keep formulating the idea. So leave that where it's at right now, and go back to Genesis and read all the way to the end of the third day.
Then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Oh no, that was the second day. Then God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw it was good. Then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the third day.
I bet. So now, on the third day, he did a lot of things. He separated the waters from the land. Notice he said the seeds gathered together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a gathering Now, in the book of Revelations, what do they call the gathering of the waters?
The Gentiles.
In the book of
the
the Gentiles. Bingo. So now, hopefully, we're seeing the imagery about what's going on. But, so he got the gathering together of the sea, and he also introduced the land. So now, is the land on top of the firmament or under the firmament?
Under.
Right. Is the sea on top of the firmament or under the firmament?
Under.
Okay, so now we got all things pretty much on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the earth will be the ground, the heavens will be the firmament. So now, can you go back to Exodus and start reading the Exodus? And I'll say when we can stop.
All right. Okay. Oh, sorry. Hold on 1 second. I had to get to 40. All right. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, hung up the veil of the covering, and partitioned it off the ark of the testimony, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He put the table in the tabernacle of meeting on the north side of the tabernacle, outside the veil, and he set the bread in order upon it before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He put the lampstand in the tabernacle of meeting across from the table on the south side of the tabernacle. And he...
All right, we're going to leave it right there then.
Okay.
We're going to leave it right there right now. All right, so now we notice that in Genesis, when he did the land and the sea, he let the grass come up, right? The herbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
He let the trees come up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did they put inside of the tabernacle?
Food. He set the bread.
Where does the bread come from?
Set the bread upon it.
How did they make bread?
Come from the harvest of wheat.
Yeah, from the wheat, from the ground.
Right. There you go. So the bread comes from the flowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Notice the flowers was introduced. Now you got bread introduced.
Okay.
The flowers was introduced. Notice you got the table introduced. They had to make tables from wood, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They came from plants.
Okay.
So you got the plants being introduced to the tabernacle. You got the plants being introduced to the cosmos. So we're seeing what this is still flowing, right?
Yeah, I see you. I'm with you.
I bet. So now let's go back to Genesis again, and let's read to the next day.
All right. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth." And it was so. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give the light on earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw it was good. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
All right, now let's go back to Exodus. Start at the verse I cut you off at.
Got you.
And keep going.
Got you. All right. So he put the lampstand in the tabernacle of meeting across from the table on the south side of the tabernacle. And he lit the lamps before the Lord as the Lord had commanded Moses. He put the gold altar in the tabernacle of meeting in front of the veil, and he burned sweet incense on it as the Lord had commanded Moses. He hung up the screen at the door of the tabernacle, and he put the altar of burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting.
You can stop right there, nigga. All right, and when we come back, we're gonna come back to that verse right there.
All right.
But now we see that Moses introduced the lampstands, right?
Yeah.
And what is the lampstand for?
That's the light.
That's the light. So once again, he's going in the exact order of which the quote-unquote cosmos was made, but we see that Moses is actually setting up a tabernacle. So now, notice he said that the lights were for rulership. He made a big light to rule. He made a lesser light to rule. But these lights, the point of these lights were for rulership. So when we see light, we got to think of rulership. And we can call, remember, Christ told them that they are, let their light shine. A city cannot be hid. A city that's set on the hill whose light shining cannot be hidden, etc. And they were supposed to be kings and priests under the order of Melchizedek. And one part of the kingship is rulership. So they were supposed to be lights also. But I'm just showing the comparison. So now, anybody got any questions before we continue or going on? Or anybody want to include anything before we continue?
My mind is just blown. I'm ready to continue.
All right, well, my brother, let's go to the next one in Genesis.
All right. All right. Then God said, "Let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens." So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." So the evening and the morning were the fifth day.
All right, go ahead and read the sixth day too.
All right. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth, each according to its kind." And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth.
Okay. You can stop right there. You can stop right there. So now he have introduced the animals in the water. He told them to be fruitful and multiply. He didn't introduce the animals on land. They was to be fruitful and multiply. He created mankind in his image, and they was to be fruitful and multiply. So now let's go back to Exodus.
Alrighty. And he burned sweet incense on it as the Lord commanded Moses. He hung up the screen at the door of the tabernacle, and he put the altar of burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the grain offering, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He set the lever between the tabernacle of meeting and the altar, and put water there for washing. And Moses, Aaron, and his sons would wash their hands and their feet with water from it, whenever they went into the tabernacle of meeting, and when they came near the altar, they washed as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he raised up the court all around the tabernacle and the altar, and hung up the screen of the court gate. So Moses finished the work.
All right, so start right there. Start where you at. Start right there. And we're gonna go back one verse in just a second.
Okay.
So we see now that was not the water introduced into the tabernacle.
Yes, sir.
Because he got the laver and he put the water inside of the laver. And then in the creation, we have the waters, and then the animals was created in the water. And notice, mankind was to use this water as a way to wash themselves. So you got animal nature in the water, using the water. And you got animal nature using the water. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he introduced the animals, and then he introduced mankind. And he said, let mankind, let's create mankind in our image. So now, this is when we come back to John. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God, and all things was created by him and through him, and nothing was made that wasn't made through him. Okay, so now, who was Christ?
He's the light, right?
Right, but what was his office?
The firmament?
What was his office? What position?
He's that priest. He's a high priest. He's a
and what else?
Creator.
And what else?
God.
Well, he's after the order of Melchizedek. So not only is he priest, he's something else. And he will be king.
King. Okay, got you. All right.
I was about to just cheat for him, but you cheated for him.
So he's king and priest after the order of Melchizedek, right?
Yeah.
And he said, let us make man in our image. So now, if Christ is king and priest, who enter into the tabernacle after the water is introduced? Who goes inside of the tabernacle?
Moses and Aaron. Okay. So Moses is would be the king. Aaron is the priest.
In fact, you can actually give Moses king and priest.
King and
Moses
priest,
kind of
yeah.
was a Levite too.
That is true.
Yep. and Aaron would be sort of like in Moses' image, being the priest.
Okay.
So you got him saying, "Let us make mankind in our image," and then you got Moses having the priest in his image. So you see how the story is formulated.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So now I want us to end it in Genesis, and then read that verse again in Exodus, and then I want you to pick up in John where you left off at.
Okay. What is Genesis? All right. So, okay. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, "See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food. Also, to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food." And it was so. Then God saw that everything he made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
All right, and read the last one. Read the last one, and
Can I say something?
the 7th day when he said it was perfect.
Okay.
No.
Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. And on the 7th day God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed. Okay.
Now you can leave it right there. You can leave it right there, and then read in Exodus, and then I think Josephus wanted to say something.
Okay.
So read the one in Exodus real fast. Just that last verse.
Got you. Alrighty. Okay. Lord, and he's okay. So, and Moses and Aaron and his sons would wash their hands and their feet with water from it whenever they went into the tabernacle of meeting, and when they came near the altar, they washed, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he raised up the court all around the tabernacle and the altar, and hung up the screen of the court gate. So Moses finished the work.
So that's it right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both works are finished now. Moses, he gets the court and all of that stuff ready, and then notice that mankind was supposed to have dominion over everything. So you got Aaron and all of them inside, and they were supposed to bring the Most High into all of the congregation of Israel. All right, and then when Josephus get done, can you start in John?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mike, can you go back and read what you just read a few minutes ago in Genesis?
Sure. What is the 6th day or the 7th day?
I can't recall which one it was. It was the whole thing. I guess it might have been 6th and 7th day.
6 and 7? All right.
Let me go look. Let me just go look. Yeah. So start from I guess start from verse 20, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Then God said, "Let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let the birds fly above from the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens." So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them.
Let's stop right there. Hold on. Let's stop right there first, and then we're gonna continue. Though we're gonna keep reading. So, what is water? What do water represent?
Waters abound with an abundance of living creatures.
Not just here. When you think about it throughout Scripture, what do water represent?
The Spirit, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now keep the Spirit in mind and read that again.
The water. Okay. Let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let the birds fly.
Mm-hmm. So now
let the Spirit abound.
Right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so let the Spirit abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens. So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, in which the waters abounded.
Right, so in which the
Spirit abounded. Mm-hmm.
Right, so this is just letting you know that this is again basically reiterating the Spirit is flowing into everybody, every creature, right? But keep reading.
According to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. So the evening...
Let's stop right there. So, and God blessed them, saying that, be fruitful and multiply, right? So now he wants the Spirit to keep going, right, into everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Holy Spirit, the Rakadash, whatever you want to call it, right? He wants the Spirit to be everybody. Everybody have that Spirit, right? Now keep going.
and fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth.
So my bad for cutting you off, but then like Elvin brought to you earlier, he said seas, right? So when he said seas earlier, he was talking about the people, basically, right? People, multiple people. It wasn't like those, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the people are seas, because they are overflowing with the water of the Spirit. That's why everybody is seas. But keep going.
So the evening and the morning were the fifth day. Then God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind. Cattle.
Oh, let's start right there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start right there before we keep going. The living creature. Now, obviously, this letting you know that before they was dead because they was without the water, they was out spirit. Now, all of these creatures have now become live, and Christ is life. We already know all of this, right? So now it's breaking it down for you now. Now these are living creatures. But he was just talking about creatures before, right? Period. So, I mean, other person that's not paying attention wouldn't even understand that. Now he's saying that they got life because of the water, because of the Spirit. Now keep going.
Let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth, each according to its kind. And it was so.
So all of these different type of people, right? Gentiles are the beasts and all that. We know all that. Like when we do all the idiomatic languages and stuff and talking about, again, it's getting back to all the different people, the seas, however you want to put it, all the different people again. You know what I mean? And let the Spirit multiply in other people. More people become aware of the Most High. Most people coming back to His presence. He's being able to tabernacle with more people, so forth, so on. I can re-explain it, but keep going.
And God made the beast of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good.
Facts.
Then God said, Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth.
Now, at this point, I believe, right, and somebody can interject and tell me, what they think, but at this point, it's directed to basically Israel. Like, so now you're going to make Israel the king the Melchizedek thing that Elvin was talking.
Yeah, that's how I view it too. Yeah, that's how.
Right, and he's going to have dominion over, the other people. But when it says dominion, I don't take it as like a literal rulership of authority, like other people try to misinterpret it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be the example.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, because they're peculiar individuals, right? They have their spiritual individuals, so they're going to go ahead and be the lead example on how to bring others to the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply.
It's bringing it right back to it again,
mm-hmm.
right? After he appointed Israel to be the example, now multiply. Now go out and spread this word. Let's be the light so other people so more and more people can come to the Most High. That's the way that's the way it unfolds to me.
Yeah, because it says, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth.
Right. Yeah. Which really, everything is really talking about the spirit. That really, all of this is about the water.
Yeah.
Right? Because you understand it kept saying fish and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All that stuff, things that swim in water, everything that. But then it says the fowl of the air, right? Mm-hmm. But where's in the air? That's the firmament. That's the temple. That's the tabernacle. You understand what I'm saying? So it's breaking down all of those things. So everybody that got the spirit, or what's in the tabernacle, that's the Most High. I mean, the people that are already, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying, the tabernacling with the Most High, like Abraham or whatever the case may be, an individual like that, so to speak. I mean, Noah or one of them. Like, it's basically breaking down the types of people, the people that get it and realize, and the people that live by it naturally. And all of them are supposed to be inspirations to the rest. And that's how I break it down. But my bad, I'm gonna mute myself right now, and I don't even want to take over or step on what Elvin was doing, but I just wanted that to unfold to everybody else like it was unfolding to me. That's all.
No, I appreciate that, man. That went, a lot of that went over my head, so I appreciate it. I'm gonna go to John for Elvin. You want me to start at 6?
Elvin.
Yeah. Go ahead, my bro.
All right. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. This man came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which gives light to every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God.
Keep going all the way down until he said he tabernacled with us.
And the word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
That's it right there. That's it right there. So it said, in the other version, it said the word tabernacle with us. Mm-hmm. So you can see that in Exodus, Moses was actually creating a tabernacle. Mm-hmm. So in Genesis, by default, they're creating a tabernacle. But when John come on the scene and explain it, this is about Christ being that tabernacle. And it said that Christ gave those many of those to be called the sons of God. Where is that found in Genesis?
Say that again.
Christ was able to give anybody that believed on him the ability to be called sons of God. But where is that found in Genesis 1?
In Genesis 1. Dang. Is that when he tells them to be fruitful?
It's a little bit before then. You're around the same verse, but he told them.
Have dominion.
Something specific.
Have dominion.
Something.
Right?
Something specific was created before the dominion. He said, let us do something first.
Make man in our image.
Bingo. That's it. Thank you, Britt. Let us make man in our image. So, that right there was them allowing mankind to actually become sons because they were finally the image of Christ.
Okay. Got you.
So them being, and then Exodus explains that these individuals that he's talking about are priests. So the image of Christ is a priestly authority. Because Christ is the high priest. Now, we're gonna formulate just a few more things, and then I'll be done and see what everybody else feel about it. Right?
Okay.
Once we go to give me 1 second. 2 Corinthians. Can you read 2 Corinthians 5:17?
2 Corinthians 5:17. All right. 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Wow. Okay.
So now, can we see that narrative in Genesis 1?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
now, can you find the verse where it says that we are the image of Christ, or around that?
In that verse?
No, sir. I think it's in Paul's writing, though. Can someone find it real fast when it says something like, we are the image of Christ?
Oh, okay. Romans 8:29.
Yes, sir. Can you start up a few verses?
Okay. Let me get to it. Romans 8. Alrighty. Likewise, the Spirit also helps us in our weakness, for we do not know what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit himself makes intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. Now he who searches the hearts knows that what the mind of the Spirit is, because he makes intercessions for the saints according to the will of God. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. For whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn of many brethren.
Go ahead.
That's it. That he might be the firstborn of many brethren.
And the last one will be, I think, 1 Corinthians 15:45.
1 Corinthians 15:45. And so it was written, the first man, Adam, became a living being. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit.
So now we see that the life-giving spirit, right? That's that living water. And he gave that living water, and when people partook of that living water, they became the image of Christ, allowing them to be sons of the Father, just like Christ was, completing the tabernacle mission. So Genesis 1 already explained what the whole point of the Bible was in the first chapter of Genesis.
Wow.
He just did it all allegorical. So now when a person open it up, they think that they're reading about the creation of the cosmos. But what they're really reading is the story of how the new covenant was going to come about. And people being the new creation in Christ. And it actually explains the heaven and earth is all about the tabernacle. It's not about the sky and ground. It's about the people, their covenant. And eventually it left the tabernacle and became the temple. So that whole Genesis 1 is explaining the entire Bible. It's just a lot of people don't get it because they're so lost into the creation narrative of the world, not understanding that Moses was a genius and he had the Holy Spirit and he talked to the Word face to face. So how could he come up with something as plain as we're trying to make it?
Amazing.
So I'm done now. I'm going to go on mute and let us have a discourse if people would like to have a discourse about all of it and see if they see any more things going on inside of any of this.
My question. Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
Mike.
No, go ahead. I was just kidding. I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, so I'll be right back.
All right, cool. I just wanted to know what did everybody see what I saw when I had Mike go back and read Genesis 20 down, and I was opening up to any and everybody's input to that.
Yeah, I didn't listen to all of it, but I was able to catch, the gist of it and everything. And hey, everything flows all together, man. That's how I hear it. So everything was good.
Anybody else?
It definitely makes sense. Correlates for sure.
Anybody got anything else to add or build on? Anybody in the audience want to raise their hand and come up and discourse as well and join? Please do so. Actually, I'm going to bring up Otis. I remember Otis. I'm about to bring Otis up. I'm going to invite him.
Yo.
Otis, how you doing, guy?
I'm chilling. What's up, King?
Just trying to be like you. All right, so what we doing is we discussing Genesis 1, how it isn't typically what everyone think it is. You got in kind of like towards the latter part of it after we broke down a lot of it, right? And things like that. But we here and we open for any questions or anything that you wanted to know. Or
I hear this blasphemy Elvin talking about up there. Elvin, don't start this tonight, Elvin.